Let's get right into it. Number 1, conditional love. Imagine growing up in a world where every hug, every kind word, every ounce of affection felt like a transaction. That's the reality for kids who experience conditional love. It's not that their parents never showed warmth. It's that love always came with a catch. Maybe you had to get straight A's, keep quiet, or never show anger. The message was clear. You're only lovable when you're perfect, obedient, or useful. Over time, this turns love into a high-stakes game. You start to believe that your value is tied to your performance, not your existence. Every mistake feels like a threat to your place in the family. You become hyper-aware of your actions, always scanning for signs of approval or disappointment. The anxiety is relentless, and the fear of rejection never really goes away. As you grow older, this mindset seeps into every relationship. You might find yourself overachieving at work, people-pleasing in friendships, or panicking when someone offers genuine care. Deep down, you're waiting for the other shoe to drop. For the moment when love is withdrawn because you didn't measure up. Conditional love doesn't just hurt in childhood. It rewires your brain to expect affection to be earned, not given. The tragedy is, you may never feel truly safe or accepted, even with people who want to love you unconditionally. That's the hidden cost of love with strings attached. Number 2, invisible child. Some wounds don't come from what's said, but from what's never acknowledged. Being the invisible child means drifting through your own home like a shadow, present but unseen. No one yells, but no one listens either. Your achievements go unnoticed, your struggles ignored, and your needs seem to vanish into thin air. At first, you might try harder, louder laughter, better grades, more helpfulness, hoping someone will finally see you. But when nothing changes, you learn to shrink yourself, to take up less space, to stop asking for anything at all. The silence becomes your comfort and your prison. Psychologists call this emotional neglect, and it's as damaging as any harsh word. The human brain is wired for connection. When that's missing, it interprets the lack of attention as a kind of social death. You start to believe you're unworthy of love, or that your feelings are a burden. This invisible pain follows you into adulthood. You might apologize for speaking up, feel guilty for having needs, or struggle to form close relationships. Ironically, invisible children often become experts at reading others, sensing moods and tensions before anyone else. It's a survival skill, honed from years of trying to avoid rejection. But deep down, the longing to be seen never really fades. The world may call you quiet or shy, but the truth is, you're just waiting for someone to notice you exist. Number 3, sibling comparison. In some families, love isn't just conditional, it's competitive. If you grew up with siblings, you might know the sting of being measured against them, day after day. Maybe your brother was the golden child, effortlessly charming, always praised. Maybe your sister was the achiever, her trophies lining the shelves while your efforts barely earned a nod. The message was subtle but clear. There's only so much approval to go around, and you're not getting your share. This constant comparison isn't just about jealousy, it's about survival. You start to see your worth through someone else's accomplishments, grading yourself on a curve you never agreed to. The effects are lasting. You might become fiercely competitive, always striving to outdo others, or you might give up entirely, convinced you'll never measure up. Relationships become battlegrounds, with every compliment feeling like a threat and every criticism confirming your worst fears. Even as adults, the echoes of sibling rivalry can shape your self-esteem, your career choices, and your friendships. You may find it hard to trust others, always waiting for the moment when someone else is chosen over you. The irony is, the golden child often struggles too, trapped by impossible expectations and afraid to fail. In the end, everyone loses in the comparison game. True healing begins when you realize your value isn't defined by anyone else's success or failure. You are enough, just as you are. Number 4, problem child myth. Every family has a story, and sometimes you're cast as the villain before you even know the plot. The problem child label is a powerful myth, one that sticks even when it's undeserved. Maybe you were the one who spoke up when things felt wrong, or the one who acted out when the tension at home became too much to bear. Instead of seeing your pain, your family saw a problem to be fixed. You became the scapegoat, blamed for chaos you didn't create, while everyone else clung to the illusion of normalcy. But here's the truth. The so-called problem child is often the healthiest one in the room. You were the emotional barometer, the one who couldn't pretend everything was fine. Your anxiety, anger, or rebellion were symptoms of a deeper dysfunction, signals that something in the family system needed to change. Yet, instead of addressing the real issues, families often double down on denial, making you the target. This dynamic is called symptom-bearer behavior in psychology, and it's more common than you'd think. Growing up with this label can leave deep scars. You might internalize the belief that you're broken, difficult, or unlovable, but the reality is your sensitivity was a strength, not a flaw. You were the one brave enough to feel, to question, to challenge the silence. The problem was never you. It was the refusal to face the truth. Number 5. Reality rewrite. Imagine living in a home where your memories are constantly up for debate. You remember the shouting, the slammed doors, the forgotten birthdays, but when you bring it up, you're told it never happened, or that you're just too sensitive. This is the reality rewrite, a subtle but devastating form of gaslighting that leaves you doubting your own mind. It's not always outright denial. Sometimes it's a gentle correction, a laugh, a dismissive wave of the hand. You're exaggerating. It wasn't that bad. You must be remembering wrong. Over time, you start to question your own experiences, wondering if you're the problem after all. This rewriting of reality isn't just about protecting the family's image. It's about avoiding guilt and responsibility. If your pain can be minimized or erased, then no one has to change. But for the child, the cost is enormous. You lose trust in your own perceptions, and your sense of self becomes shaky. You might find it hard to stand up for yourself, to set boundaries, or even to trust your feelings. The confusion can follow you into adulthood, making you vulnerable to manipulation in other relationships. Healing begins when you reclaim your story. Your memories are valid even if no one else acknowledges them. The truth doesn't need permission to exist. By trusting your own reality, you take the first step toward breaking free from the family narrative. Number 6. Parentified Kid. Some children grow up too fast. Not because they want to, but because they have to. If you were the one comforting your mother after her arguments, or calming your father's anger before it exploded, you know what it means to be a parentified kid. Instead of being cared for, you became the caretaker. You learned to read the room, anticipate needs, and put out emotional fires before you even understood your own feelings. It's a heavy burden for small shoulders, and it often goes unnoticed by the very people who should have protected you. Parentification isn't just about chores or responsibilities, it's about emotional labor. You become the family's unofficial therapist, mediator, or peacekeeper. Your own needs are pushed aside, replaced by a constant vigilance for everyone else's moods. On the surface, you might seem mature, responsible, even wise beyond your years. But inside, you're exhausted, anxious, and unsure where you end and others begin. As an adult, this pattern can be hard to break. You might find yourself drawn to people who need fixing or feel guilty for setting boundaries. Rest can feel undeserved, and asking for help might seem impossible. The truth is, you were forced into a role you never chose, and it's okay to step out of it now. Healing means learning that your worth isn't tied to how much you do for others. You deserve care too. Number 7, breaking the cycle. Breaking the cycle isn't just about leaving the past behind, it's about transforming pain into power. If you grew up with conditional love, invisibility, comparison, or the burden of being the family's emotional caretaker, you know how deep those wounds can run, but you also know what it means to survive. The first step in breaking the cycle is recognizing the patterns for what they are. Learned behaviors, not life sentences. You are not doomed to repeat your family's mistakes. You have the power to choose differently. Healing starts with self-compassion. It means giving yourself the kindness and understanding you may never have received. It's about validating your own experiences, even if others deny them. Therapy, support groups, or simply talking with trusted friends can help you untangle the old stories and rewrite your narrative. Setting boundaries is another crucial step. It might feel uncomfortable at first, especially if you're used to putting others first, but protecting your energy is an act of self-respect. As you grow, you'll notice the old triggers, moments when you feel unworthy, invisible, or responsible for everyone else's happiness. Instead of falling into old roles, pause and remind yourself, you are enough, just as you are. Breaking the cycle is a journey, not a destination. Every time you choose honesty over silence, self-care over self-sacrifice, or love without conditions, you're rewriting your story. You're not just surviving, you're thriving, and that's the legacy you deserve.